Howdy, 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 and welcome to WWW. What a week in wrestling, the predictions edition. I'd like to say hello to my co-host, Mr. Jamie Wills.
Hi everyone, it's the Big Tasty here. It's Jamie Wills. It's our first ever predictions, Adam, which is an exciting time for everyone involved.
It is indeed, and that's Adam the Wrestling Man if you're going by Big Tasty.
Sorry, we have to get our alliances in order, haven't we?
So just going to run down quickly the 6 matches, just have a bit of a chat about them, and then just give our predictions at the end, making sure it's fair by having Jamie go first and then me first in the next match, and so on and so on and so on. And we'll see who gets the most right at a later date, preferably after the event. So we're going to talk about Finn Balor and Timothy Thatcher first, Jamie. Off you go.
So this came about because the old school Sunday Night Heat drama where they had a match as Dream and Balor. I watched it because Balor's in my fantasy league team and to cheer on old Finn. A lot of shenanigans on the outside. Everyone in the ladder match come down. Thatcher come in, attacked Finn Balor. Dream got the win. That's sort of how this match come about. So the old school, he's punched me, so I'm going to challenge him to a match sort of thing. And then it was just announced. It was just there on Wikipedia. I checked it yesterday, and it just come up and said Finn Balor versus Timothy Thatcher, which, it's booked. I look forward to it. It'd be a good scrap. But, just why not put Finn Balor on the card?
From those 3 people, then, can I ask what on earth's going on? Who is face and who is heel? You've got Velveteen Dream, I've no idea. Finn Balor, I've no idea. And then now Timothy Thatcher, obviously they want him to be heel, but I've still kind of no massive idea. What's going on?
Well, Timothy Thatcher is a heel. He's definitely a heel. Balor is a tweener. Sort of like The Fiend, sort of like Strowman was for a while, where they're essentially a heel. They'll fight the baby faces, but at the same time, people like them, they get behind them. Balor, I think, because people look forward to seeing the Demon. I think it's just they're tweeners. And then Velveteen Dream, I think they're slowly starting to turn him a bit more heel, hence why he's doing a lot more heelish things and why he's in the ladder matches, as we'll talk about in a bit, to sort of make up the heel numbers, should we say. But I think NXT's full of a lot of the tweeners, which we'll discuss as well during the course of this video.
Definitely. I think it's a shame if they do turn Finn Balor into more of a face, though, because I was actually quite enjoying his run as a heel, although they're not really using him very well, because obviously his feud against Walter got affected, and he hasn't really stepped up and done much since. I was definitely expecting him in the ladder match. I was quite shocked when he wasn't in the ladder match. It seems like they don't know how to use him at all.
No, I think, if you look at Finn Balor, how he's been booked so far. He had a bit of a flirt with Adam Cole and challenged him for the title. Same with Keith Lee. I know the triple threat match, which was a shot at the title, but I think him versus Keith Lee one-on-one would have been a good match. I think there's a lot of potential matchups that they've completely just dropped the ball on with Finn Balor. And then sooner or later, they're going to move on to bigger and better things. The people that he's facing, Finn Balor's 39 now. He's going to either be in NXT for a while and lead the brand, or he's going to be back up to the main roster and either used as he should be or buried again like he was the first time. So I definitely prefer a heel Finn Balor than the sort of weird, smiley, sort of doesn't really want to be there Finn Balor, which we've sort of seen the last couple. It's, every time he come out, just pops his jacket, little smiles at the camera, no one's interested. Yeah, no. So I definitely prefer the angrier Finn Balor.
What about Thatcher? What are you making of him? Because I quite like the little vignettes that have been coming out with him doing all the submission kind of training. So obviously that leads to a kind of submission type of matchup, I think, that's going to happen here. Is he one for the future, Thatcher?
He's a sort of bloke where, like, he looks like a nice guy. He looks like your mate's sort of missus' brother, where you sort of see him down the pub and you're like, oh, you're right, Tim. But you know full well that guy is a psychopath. So you don't really talk to him that much. It looks mental. He looks crazy. But at the same time, they finish him with an armbar, which MJF uses, who has zero submission training. And I think 2 or 3 other people also have the same move. If you're going to go down the submission route and you're going to try and get someone over with the submission moves, then give him either a complicated triangle choke, an omoplata for the UFC fans. There's a few moves in there that haven't really been utilized in WWE or NXT that they could easily bring in there. I think the head-arm triangle, for example, Strowman used to use it for a bit. I think that's really unusualized. It's quite a dangerous move. Edge started to use it for a bit. There's a lot of moves that they could have given him, and I think as an armbar, it's not that effective. Yeah, it's a transitional move. So I think they've either got to give him the ball and run with it and promote him as this big, badass guy, or just stop with the vignettes and use him as they are currently using him as someone to big up the mid-card or to fill a card in this case. So, yeah, I certainly think they dropped the ball with him. I like him. I think he could be a really good guy, but they just got to use him properly. That's what, once again, a common theme at the moment with NXT.
It is indeed. We'll probably talk about that a bit further with the matches. So, Mr. Wills, Big Tasty, whatever you're going as today, prediction. What are you going for?
I'm going with Finn Balor. I'm going with... I don't think he's going to come out as the Demon. I think we need to see him at some point, the Demon, but he's going to save it for a big match. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense to have Thatcher go over in this scenario. If they big Thatcher up a bit more, then yeah, sure. But he took the pinfall the other week in the triple threat. He's picked up a few losses along the way. So yeah, it's going to have to be Finn Balor. I can't see them putting Thatcher over, especially how they've promoted in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, a loss would be horrible for both these competitors. So I do see some kind of shenanigans happening in this match, or some little real fluke or something like that. Imperium haven't got a match. They've obviously showed that they've got issues with Balor. But would they do that when there's a tag team #1 contenders match in the same show? I don't know. There seems like there should be a reason for Imperium not to be on the event. So I'm gonna go with Thatcher. It's either going to be a very fluke victory, which is going to drive Balor mad and bring up the heel thing a little bit more, or it's going to be Imperium. I mean, I don't know how it's going with flights at the moment with Wolf and Volta, but you've got the tag team, Maikner and Bartel. I just have a feeling that Thatcher's going to take this because a loss now, I think, would be too early for him, and a big win would be very helpful for his career.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I just can't see him not putting Finn over in this case. I think we'll see. That's what we're here for, isn't it?
It is indeed.
And we couldn't just pick the same picks, otherwise this video would make any sense. It would just.
Let's move on then. Adam Cole against Pat McAfee. We're not sure at this moment in time when that'll appear on the card. We had a little bit of a chat before this video of will it actually be the last match on the card? Where do you reckon this will place?
It's a tricky one. As I said before, they could go Lawrence Taylor Bam Bam and put it on the end. I can't see him doing that only because I don't think Pat McAfee was much of an NFL star. I'm not up with my NFL, but yeah, I think it was a punter, wasn't he, which has been highlighted in the last few weeks. So I'd say co-main event just below the Keith Lee Karrion Kross.
Yeah, I'm going last. I think it'll be last for reasons that I'll disclose a little bit later when we get to the NXT title match. But yeah, I think it will be on last. I think they've built it up. It's been a genuinely decent build-up to this. I think they started off, obviously, on McAfee's show with the was it a shoot, was it not a shoot type of thing, where Cole had a little bit of an outburst, walked off set. I think that was done really well. Obviously, it's come out that it's not real and it's not a shoot. And I think acting-wise, Cole was magnificent. Best I've seen from him in that kind of fashion before. Obviously, his wrestling's amazing. And I think McAfee has proved himself that he can be a player as far as on camera. which is really good. A lot of people that I've spoke to have bigged up Pat McAfee and said there's a bit more to him than meets the eye. He's a genuine fan, which helps if you've got a love for WWE, and he's not just your general athlete that's walking into WWE. He has had some wrestling training. So I think this will be better than your average celebrity matchup.
Yeah, completely agree. I think he's been in WWE for, 2 years now, I think. Been in and around the background. I remember Mania popping up. Yeah, I think Adam Cole was a good performance. If it still not 100% sure it wasn't a shoot, but I think he did. That's one thing that Triple H has done well. I think is just there's little like hints back to the Attitude Era and like seeing behind the curtain and so on, but not too much. Enough that you sort of think, oh, is this real? Is this not? Because everyone was talking about that for a good couple of days. Every video you click on, Adam Cole kicks off. Adam Cole's doing this on the Pat McAfee show. So I know it's got Pat McAfee's ratings up on his show, which is one thing. And I know he talks a lot about NXT on his show as well. So that's done wonders for promoting NXT with both the NFL people that want to watch it, as well as people that might just sort of not watch it live and maybe catch up when they get a chance to. So I think it's done well in that sense. And as I said, something I haven't really seen. I think that's why it was so shocking to see, because it's not. You wouldn't get that on SmackDown. You wouldn't get that on Raw. You wouldn't get I don't know, Drew McIntyre kicking off on BBC Radio 2. You know, you wouldn't get that. It's just come out of the blue. It wasn't promoted. It wasn't like, oh, Adam Cole's going to be here this week. It was just bang, job done. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why that's why I prefer NXT sometimes to WWE, because it has that different factor in there. If we look back to the Attitude Era and you look back to DX going to WCW, you know, that's something that they subtly mention every now and again. We've got some rivals. There's something outside of these four walls of WWE, and that was one of the most impactful things in the Attitude Era. Whereas if you look at this, it's one of those things you look back on in the future and go, oh, do you remember when this happened? It's a speaking point about it. So I think it's going to do wonders for Adam Cole's career, as well as hyping this match as well. So I think it's been a great build up to it.
Definitely. I think if it goes well and Adam Cole doesn't switch brands in the brand switch, which is maybe October, it doesn't really make sense with Survivor Series coming up in November, but it depends how they're going to work it. I think maybe Adam Cole and Pat McAfee could end up on the same team in that match, which would be quite interesting if it goes well. It's got to go well for that to happen. Yeah,
I think for McAfee to get a full-time contract or to...
I wouldn't go that far.
No. Or for McAfee to even appear again, I think it's got to go well. It's got to live up to the hype.
Yeah. So I'm going to take this one first. And the Undisputed Era have been atrocious this year in terms of not wrestling and in terms of losing. As we see on the Fantasy Wrestling League, the points and values are just plummeting, just nowhere near the big boys. So for that reason, I think they need it, and Adam Cole will take this.
What a swerve. I'm actually here for Pat McAfee.
Really?
I'm actually here for Pat McAfee. It's hard to sort of just explain, but I don't know. There's got to be a reason why he's been thrown in against a big guy. Big guy in the sense of a big player in NXT, as was discussed on the podcast that he does not his height. There's got to be a reason why he's been thrown against Adam Cole. Something's going to happen. Something's got to, as you said, Undisputed Era have been on a bad turn. I think Roderick Strong's going to come in and attack Adam Cole.
Ooh.
Personally,
well,
I think
they have said that maybe if Adam Cole gets a call up, the others won't be joining him. So that kind of makes sense, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I think that Undisputed Era I really liked as a 3. As a 4, they look phenomenal. Easy for me to say. They look really good. I'd say it goes back to a 3. It's a different story, isn't it? I think they could then build up again and have that same traction. there could be an ongoing point then when they get up to the main roster of, oh, will this person join them, and just have that continuous storyline. If there's 4 of them, you're going to miss out on that, which I think is one of the reasons why they were quite hot at the start. So I think personally, Roderick Strong's going to have a bit of a part to play in that one.
Interesting.
And he's not booked.
Never considered. Let's move on. Number 1 contenders matchup for the tag team titles. Talk to me about Breezango, briefly.
I really like them. I think they're quite funny. I think that they get on a bit. Fandango's in his late 30s, and I think Breeze is early 30s, so getting on a bit, but more aimed at Fandango. But I think if there's going to be a time to get Breezango over, it would be now, if they are going to sort of pull the trigger on them on NXT. I'd like the way that they're sort of switching it up every week, keeping it fresh. They're coming out as their opponents, which is quite funny. I think it's really hard to do things funny in WWE because there's so many different things. And the last real funny person we've had since, well, apart from R-Truth, was probably Goldust back in sort of the early 2000s with him and Booker T. Getting that same sort of thing where you look forward to seeing them, not for their wrestling, but for their antics. So I think, I'm looking forward to that.
But when when Fandango was injured, both of those wrestlers came out publicly and said, I want to move away from comedy. I don't want to do this comedy routine anymore. I want to be classed as a serious wrestler. So I don't know. I don't see they're all going in this comedy routine again. I think it's going to be very short-lived with them.
Yeah, it's a shame, because both of their careers in WWE have been around comedy. I think Tyler Breeze come out as sort of the handsome with the mobile phone attached to the selfie stick, and Fandango's always been a ballroom dancer, isn't he? And then from that, I think he switched to a serious side and did a bit of salsa. I think that's, they've always stuck in that gimmicked early 90s sort of routine. So it wouldn't surprise if they did go that way, and they did move on to becoming either a serious tag team, but they're called Breezango. I mean, you don't take a tag team seriously that are called Breezango, are you? So if they are going to do it, they're going to have to completely do a whole switcheroo on the characters.
So I'm going to start with Brit and Brawlers. It's no secret that I'm a massive, massive fan of these two, in particular Danny Burch. For me, are they a tag team? Because they're so adaptable that 1 minute they're a tag team, the next minute they're singles wrestlers, 205 Live, NXT. Danny Burch against Karrion Kross the other week was brilliant, absolutely brilliant produced match. So it's a case of whether WWE is actually going to push the button with them as a tag team. At one point last year, they were heels on NXT UK and faces on NXT. They just don't seem to know whether to keep them together, whether to split them up. So I don't know how to judge them at the moment. What do you reckon?
I think they're both fantastic wrestlers. They had a good few matches together last year, am I rightly, against each other. I think that how the whole tag team, the sort of Sheamus and Cesaro.
How the tag team start, yeah.
Yeah, they look really good together. I think it was over maybe a couple of months or at least a few weeks. They had a few matches together. I think they had a really, really good match against Undisputed Era last year as a tag team. It might have been last year, might be the year before. But it was, they were really, really good. They looked good. The crowd started off a bit dead for the match, and then as it built up, as it started to break down the match, then the crowd got really behind them. So I think that's the sign of a good tag team for me, is that to get the crowd behind you from nothing to that, that's the sign of a good chemistry. So I think it's definitely there. They're the sort of tag teams I like, the sort of get in there, get it done, get out. The APAs, for example, big fans of them in the 90s. It was Earthquake and Typhoon, but it was similar. So I think they just get in there. There's Brit and Brawlers, great name for them, and I'm behind them. And hopefully, fingers crossed, they actually pull the trigger and they started releasing together merch, should we say, rather than was it Lawkins 1 T-shirt and 2 for Yeah, 2 for Birch.
With just the name Danny on it, so if you wear it, you seem like you have to be called Danny. Weird.
Yeah.
So Legado del Fantasma. Just got to give a big up for the group, first of all. Escobar just is another level. He is definitely world title standard. And that's rare for me to say that this early about somebody. Although I did say it very early about The Miz, believe it or not, when everyone else was slating him and saying how bad he'd be. I said future world champion right there, and I was right on that one. So I'm going to be right on this one. He's amazing. I think Mendoza and Wild. Mendoza just, again, if WWE play him the right way, he could be pushed up to a kind of upper mid-card level. Whacking Wild, he doesn't quite have the acting skills of the other two. He's always got the smug face. He doesn't seem to have any other faces. He's just better in the ring. He's absolutely brilliant in the ring. What do you make of these two chemistry-wise?
Yeah, I think really good chemistry-wise. They faced Breezango this week. And yeah, they look really good. I think as a stable, they look good. I think they could go on for quite a while. I think the build up to the stable being formed was really good, with the kidnapping and basically just based around the whole cruiserweight tournament, where you think, oh, a good tournament's coming up. It's very rare you see a different storyline intertwined with a tournament like that. So I think that was really good. And they're young. I mentioned age so much on this video, but they're young. I believe Mendoza's 23 and Joaquin's 26. Yeah, so I think Joaquin, he was in TNA for a bit before. DJZ, that was him. So obviously back then didn't really think much of him. He was a gimmicked person, so it's good to see them sort of stripping him back and
very serious neck injury as well that he had. Almost career ending. So glad to see him back, definitely.
Yeah, certainly. I think I like them as a pairing. I think they're one of the ones which we'll come across to in a second, but I could see going places in NXT.
So prediction wise, you're first on this one. What are you doing?
Right, so there's a reason behind this. So the champions at the moment being Imperium, they're not doing much. They're appearing every now and again. I'm going to take Birch and Lorcan on this one. I'm going to take Birch and Lorcan because I think they're going to win against Imperium, truth be told. I think they're going to pick up the straps because Breezango had a go against them. They didn't come out victorious. So I think they're going to continue their feud with Legado. And I think Legado, they're heels, and so are Imperium. So it wouldn't really be there unless you're going to throw someone else into the mix with a screw finish. But the only one to me that makes sense is going to be only Lorcan and Danny Birch.
I'm going to agree with you.
First one.
Lorcan and Birch on this one. So my thinking about it is slightly similar but slightly different. All I could think of when I heard this match being announced was, why on earth are they in the match? It doesn't really make sense for them to be in this particular match. They could have just had Breezango versus Legado del Fantasma, and it would have been equally as decent in the fans' eyes. So the last time that I thought that was when Hawkins and Ryder first won the SmackDown Tag Team belts. They were involved in a fatal four-way when they were the Edgeheads, and there was no reason at all for them to be in that match. And they won. So whenever I had that feeling then, I've got that feeling today. So I think Birch and Lorcan will take it. But I'm going to do a little bit of a swing on that. It will be an early match that they will win. Later on, when Finn Balor takes on Timothy Thatcher, Birch and Lorcan will be involved in that match.
Oh, start a new stable?
Just think of that trio. Thatcher, Birch, Lorcan. That's an amazing trio.
That's a meat and potatoes trio, that is.
Perfect together. Other than that, if Birch and Lorcan don't win, they're going to have to split up. because they've been there and thereabouts in the title hunt for quite a long time. They keep being the almost men. Get them split up, get them fighting each other again, split them in brands. The end.
The end, indeed. Yeah, that makes sense. I think once again there'll be heels then, and heels against heels for the tag belts. So you never know. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? I think that's going to be the.
Would they be heels though? Because Finn Balor is not a face. He's not a baby face.
No one knows.
Who knows?
No, who knows?
So let's move on then. We go to our 3 title matches now. So let's kick off with the women. Io Shirai versus Dakota Kai. I'm a big fan of both of these ladies. I think this is the perfect match. I think the only way this could be more perfect is if this was the day before WrestleMania. Because this is the match that I want to see on NXT. I think Dakota Kai has just stepped up to the plate as far as a heel is concerned. I was very doubtful whether she'd be able to make a good heel, and she's made a really good heel, very much helped by the backing of Raquel Gonzalez. Io Shirai was better as a heel. I'm not sure why they've changed her back to being a face now. Doesn't really make sense when there's no fans there to do that. But as far as the actual matchup, they're the 2 best women in NXT. This matchup deserves to happen.
Yeah, I think the reason they've switched her to a face or a tweener is because there's no real face women in NXT. You got Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae switched to being a heel. Also, you got Dakota Kai, who switched to being a heel. Pretty much just leaves you with Tegan Nox as the only.
Yeah,
you got I can think of.
Shotzi Blackheart in the mix as well.
Yeah, which, I mean, she's picked up a few losses in the last month or so, which if they're going to push her, they really shouldn't be giving her those losses. So I think she lost to Indy Hartwell, I think, a few weeks back. Yeah. So, I think those sort of losses do really, if someone's on the way up, affect them. So, there's no real challenges for Io Shirai's title. So I think that was probably why they had to take it off Charlotte and put it on her face. Didn't want to give it to Ripley again, so they sort of turned Io Shirai into a face. That's probably the reasoning behind it. But I really like Io Shirai. I think I've liked her for, not in that way, but I've liked her for about a year or so now. Really good in the ring. I wouldn't say she's a genius of the sky. I remember on the Mae Young Classic, I think she missed about 4 moonsaults when she went for them. Yeah,
the moonsault just isn't a good finisher for her at all. It just doesn't look smooth, and it doesn't look good.
It's been good since S.A. Rios. I'll make a claim of that now. There's the last really good. Sorry?
He was formerly Papi Chulo as well.
Yeah, there we go. So there's the last good moonsault I saw. Angle's one, I think, used to be quite good. So I like watching it because you never know what's going to happen. Is he going to break an arm? Is he not? We don't know. But I always think with moonsault, it should be a nice clean finish onto it, but it just never seems to get there. I think they need to switch her finisher up.
Is it Christopher Daniels that does an amazing one, the BME, best moonsault
ever?
The
best moonsault ever, yeah. He does. He does the second rope pop up into the moonsault. Lacey Evans does the same thing.
Now that is smooth.
That is, and it seems to be at that level of if you're going to call yourself the genius of the sky.
Yeah.
It'd be like me calling myself the genius of the video and then stuttering every 2 seconds.
Maybe they should team up with Grand Metalik, King of the Ropes.
Yeah.
Show us some moves.
Exactly. Genius and the Kings. What more could you want?
So I'm going to take this one. I'm going to take this one first. There's a lot of talk about Io Shirai. Well, there was a lot of talk a few months ago about Io Shirai being unhappy and wanting the main roster. That could be a reason for Shirai winning. For losing, so that she goes to the main roster. Dakota Kai has been highly impressive, and it wouldn't be unbelievable if Dakota Kai won the match. With Raquel Gonzalez coming back last week, I think if Kai was going to win, then she would have come back at Takeover as the surprise factor, because she was missing for a few weeks. She wasn't coming out with Kai for a few weeks. So I'm going to go Io Shirai on this one.
I'm going to go for a draw, a no contest. And the reason we go for a no contest is Raquel Gonzalez. I agree that if she was going to play a part in Dakota Kai winning, then she would have come out and interfered during the match, and they wouldn't have announced it beforehand because it's a nice surprise. I think that she's going to have something to do with it, some sort of shenanigans, and she might get thrown out or something, and there's going to be something in there to continue this feud on, because there's not many heel women now, but every heel woman's locked into a rivalry. Candice LeRae is locked in with Mia Yim for the foreseeable. You've got Rhea Ripley with Mercedes Martinez, which has been going forward now for a few months. There's no real big heels that will be coming through.
I think they're actually moving LeRae on with Knox now, I believe.
Oh, that's classic. Yeah. Roll of dice, and whichever one it picks on, just move on to that one. So there's not many people at that level. I think Kai has put herself on that level, which is good to see. So yeah, I think it's going to be a draw / no contest.
Fair play.
No
Let's
winner.
Move on to the North American ladder title match. I wasn't a massive fan of that being announced. I know you were. About another title match when it comes to a mid-card title on NXT. I think they've actually played the story out quite well, to be fair to them, in all the matches. I think they've played... let's just discuss them one by one. Let's talk about Bronson Reed, first of all. I think they've played his character extremely well over the past few weeks. I think they've built him up from being, he's got no chance to, actually, maybe he's got a chance. And he's just looked stronger and stronger each week. So well done NXT on that one.
Yeah, I like Bronson Reed. I think he's got a relatively bright future ahead of him. So he was a surprise one. I think that was when I started to look forward to it, when he won the first triple threat match. Because they started off with a sort of a very lower mid card match. They started off with Bronson Reed, and then you sort of bring in the other chaps that are in there, which we'll get to in a second. The Loomis, but obviously Loomis has been pulled from the card. So originally I thought, it's going to be a lower mid card. Good, we're going to see a new title, we're going to see a new face essentially come through in North America. So I think when it first was announced, that's what I was looking forward to, was having the mid card guys doing something, because at the moment it just seems pointless feud after pointless feud after pointless feud, unless there's a big one there. And then Adam Cole won it, and it went to someone that's at the top level still. So it went to Adam Cole and Ricochet, and obviously Strong, Dream, Gargano, Keith Lee. Everyone sort of picked it up as being at a good level. I was looking forward to the guys coming through from the Performance Center, like the old European title. Someone will pick it up on their way through the stepping stone belt, so to speak.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's definitely being used as a kind of, like in the WCW, NWA era, like the US title. It's been used for when people are going to the top. And it is right to have a change now and push some more people. Otherwise, there's no new stars being created. So, yeah, good point, definitely.
Yeah, I think the new stars thing is certainly something I'm going to hit on during the course of this match anyway, when we come into it. But I think that's one thing that NXT are lacking at the moment, is the new stars side of things. I think they've hit a bit of a stalemate at the moment. I think when it comes to Gargano, who's tried to switch his character up, and you've got Ciampa, who's still impressive, but a big loss against Karrion Kross recently. I think they're lacking that slow build-up of a really big star at the moment. So I think this is going to be, depending on who wins, this is going to be the sort of deciding factor as to how they're going to go forward.
Yeah, I mean, you can factor in Damian Priest in that. I mean, you talk about slow build-ups. Before this tournament, he's been used horrendously since he came in. It's not even like he's looked like he has a chance of winning any of the big matches. He comes out, does all his stick with his arrow, blah, 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 and you're like, ooh, he looks impressive. Oh, he's lost. Oh, he's lost again. And at least this has shown him in a bit of a different light. But like you say, it depends how this goes.
Yeah, Damian Priest, when he first come about, he looked impressive, but I think he was in Ring of Honor for a while beforehand. I remember sort of seeing him there and thinking, oh, he looks like he can go. So he can certainly find a home in WWE and NXT. But yeah, I think when he first came out, you have the fire on there. You had a standard move set for someone coming through. He uses the kick. He uses essentially the crossroads or the test drive, and Test used it, which a lot of people are currently using. So I think that's one thing that I was like, oh, he could sort of look. And then he lost to Finn Balor. He picked up a loss against Cameron Grimes. And then he just turned face out of nowhere. Where did that come from? Well, when we come to Cameron Grimes in a second, we'll discuss a bit more about Damian Priest. But yeah, it's just a very weird one for me.
Yeah, well, let's go straight on to Grimes then. The opposite of what they've done with Priest. I think the slow build has been fantastic with Cameron Grimes. I think he's lost matches that he needed to lose, but still looked quite impressive. I think he's had the little kind of run-ins where he came in and just like badmouth Finn Balor the other week, which was good for both of them. And I think he's won certain matches where it takes away people thinking that he's just a loser. So yeah, I think they've built him very well.
Yeah, I remember watching him as Trevor Lee in TNA, and he looked like a small guy. I was like, oh, he's quite a small chap. I think it's the X Division side of things. And then he popped up they had an announcement of all the new intakes for the Performance Center. I was like, oh, it's Trevor Lee. And then he debuted in the Breakouts tournament, which Bronson Reed was also in. And they repackaged him, and he came out as Cameron Grimes. And I thought, this guy looks like a star. He looks like a very good act. So I think that's when I started thinking, get a bit of traction. And you have some people that come through and you look at and you invest into them. I think he's been one that I've been watching that I've been quite invested in. He lost to Keith Lee on Wednesday, which was a bit of a strange decision to put him in there, but it hasn't affected him that much because we lose to Keith Lee. It's sort of not a shock, is it?
Definitely not. Johnny Gargano, I think this is a nothing match for Gargano. It's a match where he can just look impressive in the match. That's it, I think, as far as Gargano goes this match. There's no real reason, there's no kind of storyline for him here. It's just a match for him to show off his skills.
Yeah, I think it's just a match to get him on the card as well. He's looking to extend the record of most takeovers to sort of Johnny Takeover. So I think any which way they can get him on the card, they will. If they can have him fighting the Bunny from Adam Rose and the Bunny, that they will. It's just get him on the card, basically. The heel persona is not really clicking for me yet. I've preferred
it. Doesn't look like a heel.
No, he looks like he works in a phone shop. That's what it looks like. But yeah, it's not really clicking for me just yet. I don't think the mic work is there. And I don't think his moveset really matches a heel.
No. There's the connection with the fans for him being Willie won't he do it is what made him the star that he is in NXT. And I think without that, there's not much of a spark there for me. I love him as a wrestler, brilliant wrestler, but persona-wise, no, he's a face all day.
Yeah, I think that's why Willie Won'ties don't really work in WWE that much. It's not like a sitcom where you can save it for the last episode. It's the Willie Won'ty, and when they actually get to the pinnacle, then where do they go? The Daniel Bryan side of things, Willie Won'ty, he got there. Sadly, he got injured, but I don't think they had the immediate plans for after Mania for that time. I think it's a similar sort of thing with Gargano, where they've sort of Willie Won'ty, yes, he did. Now what? Oh, let's turn him heel. Willie Won'ty again. So I think that's just something that they shouldn't have really done. I think he was definitely over with the fans. The Ciampa feud was fantastic. And I think that's going to be the height of his career. And I think in NXT, I think it's all downhill from here until he gets main rostered.
Well, let's talk very briefly about Dream, because obviously he's only just come back. As we've talked about, he's displayed a bit more of a heel persona at the moment. What do you think they're going to do with him? What are the plans for Dream?
They've had a lot of heat. Apparently in the locker room Dream's come back. It's been quite part-time recently, so I'm not sure if it's a very weird one, because it wasn't like he was suspended. It's not like he's been off TV whilst everything blows over. He's been sporadically appearing every now and again. So it's a very weird situation, but I'm personally a big fan, wrestling-wise, of Velveteen Dream. I like his moveset. I think his matches with Aleister Black, even Cassius Ohno, were really good. So yeah, I quite like him. I think I do feel a bit bad for him if all of this does turn out to not be true, and it's all just sort of accusations. But I think WWE must be quite hot on him to not have done anything yet.
I can see him, obviously, when all of this blows over and innocence proven, whatever, as long as he stays with the company, I can see him going to SmackDown, probably. And like you say, as a kind of almost a part-timer, he's a talker, he's a vignette person, almost like they're doing with Wyatt at the moment, but not at the top level, where he's literally in segments most weeks, but he's not actually in there wrestling. I can see him having a bit of a feud with Riddle, maybe over on SmackDown. I think him and AJ would probably work very well together on SmackDown. But yeah, that's pretty much it for him and for the 5 competitors. So who are you going with?
I'm going with Cameron Grimes. And I'm going with Cameron Grimes because, as I touched on it earlier, Damian Priest didn't look like a face until he faced off against Cameron Grimes, who is so good at being a heel that he can make someone else look like a face. So I think they're really hot on him. I think he's really, really good at the moment. I think in-ring works good. As I was surprised he lost to Keith Lee, but looking back at it, I think that makes sense, just to put that element of, he's probably going to win it. And then, boom, Cameron Grimes wins it. So I think if anyone's going to be elevated to a level with that title, it's going to be him.
So yeah, there's only a possibility of 2 people winning this match. It's going to be Priest or Grimes. They've built up Bronson Reed so much that it's too obvious, and the other 2 just don't need it, and there's no reason for them to have it. So Priest or Grimes, it'll come down to. I'm going to agree with you, and I'm going to go Grimes. I think it's a flip of the coin on those 2, but I think Grimes, it would show his potential a little bit more than it would with Priest.
And the title at the moment's gone heel, face, heel, face, heel, face. Let's go for a heel again.
You could be right there. World title match, NXT title. Keith Lee against Karrion Kross. What do you think of the build-up, first of all?
I think it's too early for Karrion Kross.
You're kind of giving away your prediction already there, Jamie.
Or am I? Yeah, I think it's too early. I like the matchup. I think it's going to be a really, really good match. I think Keith Lee has chemistry with literally anyone. Karrion Kross I've not seen that much of. I saw a bit of him when he was Killer Kross. So I haven't seen like a great deal to sort of gauge how well he's going to do in NXT. But yeah, it's just he's come in, he's beat Ciampa, and now he's got a title match. It's a bit. It's just a very strange one for me personally. I think they could have built up a bit longer. It just seems a bit just a bit rushed. It went from Adam Cole to Keith Lee within a week. Yeah,
it was a very, very quick transition, that one. There wasn't even any kind of afterthought between Cole and Lee. It was immediate. Straight onto Kross in this one. I'm going to disagree with you. I'm not sure this is going to be a great match. I think Keith Lee at the moment is being built up to look like a monster type of champion, like really big, powerful moveset, blah, 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 blah. And I think Karrion Kross is the wrong person to put with him at the moment, because I don't think he'll be able to display that against Karrion Kross. And if he does, it will make Karrion Kross look extremely weak.
Yeah. I agree to an extent, actually. Makes sense. I think, Karrion Kross is he looks like a beast. He's got a moveset which relies on him being the stronger person in the match, which is not going to get out of Keith Lee being a massive chap. So, yeah, I think I agree to some extent, but I think I'll be surprised. I think it will be a good match. I think it will be, yeah, I hope so. Keith Lee can definitely pull it out of the bag, I would have thought.
Karrion Kross kind of proved in the match against Danny Burch the other week that he could take a beating well. So hopefully he'll still be able to do that, but still come out looking strong like he did against Burch. But without a win, that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
So I will take this one. I think there's been decent build-up. I really enjoyed the fireball incident. I thought might as well do that kind of thing while there's no fans, so they can perfect it. It's been a while since the old open book fireball. I think Keith Lee has built himself up really well, like I said, in a monster way, but that could be a detriment to this match. I've got a feeling this match won't go on last because I've got a feeling this will be some kind of screwy finish. So I think Cole and McAfee will go on last. I can see Keith Lee winning this match, but the way that he wins and the means that he wins, it'll be a bit dodge, and it will probably lead to Keith Lee Karrion Kross at the next takeover, I would say. So Lee to win, but for the feud to continue.
I've gone the opposite way. I've gone Karrion Kross. This is what I think. This is what I think is going to happen. I think this is going to have a screwy finish. I think Dominik Dijakovic is going to come in, and he's going to be there with a chair. The rest going to be down, of course, because they're always down. He's going to pop in with a chair. He's not going to be happy. He's going to go, "You hit me the other week, Karrion. You took me out. I've just woken up. And now let's have a scrap." And then he's going to hit Keith Lee with the belt. Karrion Kross is going to hit him with a move, pin him, and it's going to be over. And then the feud's going to continue from there. Lee will beat Dijakovic and finally send him off to the main roster where he belongs. And then the feud will continue, but with Karrion Kross as champion. I think any shenanigans that are going to happen in the match probably won't happen and affect Karrion Kross's loss record, because I think they're going to try and build him up as like the next big thing, basically, because he's an impressive looking chap, isn't he? So I think personally that the Karrion Kross is gonna win against my against what I want, basically. But that's what I think is going to happen.
I very, very, very much doubt that any of what you've just said will happen.
At all in the video.
They've definitely used Dominik Dijakovic in the past couple of matches as this is my farewell to NXT. So if it does happen, you are a very impressive predictor, man. And NXT have played this very, very well, apart from to you, who found the truth. But yeah, I've seen Dijakovic just the end of NXT in these last two matches against Lee and Kross. And, you know, there's rumours about him obviously being part of Retribution as well. I can't see what you're saying happening. Kross might win, obviously, but I can't see the way you're saying it.
Yeah, they have gone very Rocky 4 with this, haven't they? They've gone very, Rocky 4, Apollo Creed. If he dies, he dies, sort of thing. So yeah, interesting to see how they take it. But either way, if Kross wins, that's a point for your boy over here. So, but yeah, I can see some form of shenanigans in this one. So whether it's an outside interference of some sort, Scarlett getting involved, Mia Ying coming down, and those two having a scrap. You haven't really seen much of Scarlett in the ring, so and she can perform. So, yeah, Mia Yim being Keith Lee's other half, then her coming in, distraction. Oh, Keith Lee's, stop that, you two.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Mia Yim, did we? Because that's where it's leading for her to have some kind of involvement in this. So, yeah.
It wouldn't make sense for Kross to have a Kross loss this early.
In the right
sense. In the right, yeah. Whether it's a double count out, which I think the match is going to go on last. So, if it does go on last, they're not going to end it in a count out and take it for 30. They're going to end it with either a big moment of Karrion Kross winning or Keith Lee picking up a big win, but too early for me. Hence why I was annoyed why they've put it forward this early.
Yes. Right, I think we're going to wrap it up there. really interesting discussions here. At least one thing that we definitely write in, there's going to be a new North American champion. So
Yeah,
we're both right there. So that's a good start. Right, boys, girls, ladies, gentlemen. This has been What a Week in Wrestling. This has been myself, Adam the Wrestling Man. And what's your name again?
it's the Big Tasty, if you're French.
The Big Tasty. It's changed since the beginning. You're getting a bit of an ego.
Yeah. Well, you can't just have a Big Tasty. I'm thinking of a burger then, aren't they? No, it's the Big Tasty, Jamie Wills.
Okay, we'll use that one going forward then.
Yeah, perfect.
Right, guys. Thank you for watching. See you later.
All the best.